Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to Gas World Tech IE 2021. Very good afternoon to the distinguished speakers and dignitaries who will be participating in this online conference. The topic of discussion for the session is availability and supply of LNG in India. For domestic gas supply, we have Mr. Amit Mehta, Senior Vice President and Head Gases, Reliance Industries Limited. Mr. Amit Mehta is Senior Executive Vice President, Head Gases at RIL. He is a BE graduate from IIT Roorkee in Chemical Engineering and holds a PGBDM from IMT Ghaziabad. He has been associated with the Reliance Group for over a decade and has extensive experience in the Indian natural gas sector with expertise in the field of marketing, business development, commercial, and contract management. He is also on board of gas downstream companies like India Gas Solutions, Reliance Gas Pipelines Limited, and Reliance Ethane Pipelines Limited. For creating liquidity on availability of gas in India market, we have Mr. Rajesh Mediratta, Director Strategy, Regulatory and Communication, India Energy Exchange. Mr. Rajesh Kumar Mediratta is the Director of Strategy and Regulatory Affairs of Indian Energy Exchange. He was with Central Electricity Authority, the Apex Planning Organization, for about 8 years as Assistant Director. He then worked with a regional system operator for 10 years. He was instrumental in implementing new settlement systems at regional level as consultant to the state. He holds a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from the Rani Durgavati Vishwavidyalaya, Jabalpur, and holds a master's of business administration from Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. He has over 29 years of experience in the Apex organization of India's power system. Prior to joining IEX, he worked as an assistant director with Central Electricity Authority and later with the Power Grid Corporation of India Limited as chief manager. He has to create several papers on power markets, commercial mechanism, power system operation, and settlement system presented at international and national conference. For diversify and expand global partnership on natural gas and LNG imports, we have Mr. Kevin Elwar, Principal Newfoundland LNG Limited, Canada. Mr. Kevin Elwar is the President, Chief Executive Officer, Director of Northwest Energy Corporation. Mr. Elwar has public-private sector management experience in the resource and transportation sectors. Most recently, Mr. Elwar worked in the oil sands industry and with First Nations Group on business development and environmental technology issues. Previously, he served as CEO on the Goose Bay International Airport and Munakar Development Board. He has also served as a provincial cabinet minister for 9 years with the government of Newfoundland and Labrador, including the environment, labor, and forestry portfolios. Mr. Elward also served as leader of the Liberal Party of Newfoundland and Labrador during the provincial election in 2011. I now hand over the session to our participants.
Dipesh, this is Amit Mehta. This side. How do you plan to conduct this call?
Yes, sir. So in this session, the panelists can discuss among themselves and they can share their insights about the same on the topic on this given topic of availability and supply of LNG in India. So they are open for discussion. And if you have any questions arising from our delegates or from the attendees, we'll be surely notifying you all in the chat box. So you can go ahead with your content.
Okay, in that case, I think I can start based on some insight into the domestic gas availability in India.
Surely, sir.
If that is okay with everybody.
Yes, sir. You can do that. Each speaker can give the insight for one after another, and maybe at the end can have a discussion and as well as a Q&A session.
Okay. So on domestic gas availability, I think one thing is very clear that this decade is going to belong to natural gas. There's no doubt about that. In terms of India, I think India is of course going at a very fast rate. We expect it to grow more than 8% per year from here on, at least for this decade. So that would mean that the energy requirement is also going to be substantial from where we see it today. And we all know that as a country, we have set ourselves a target of 15% share in primary energy of natural gas from current 6% by 2030. Now that itself means a substantial increase in gas consumption. So if you do the numbers, basically we are currently today somewhere around 160 to 170 MMSCMD consumption in the country. And if you extrapolate the energy consumption by 2030 and do 15% of that, that itself would come to close to 600 MMSCMD. So basically that means that we have to triple our natural gas consumption over next 10 years. So that is of course a humongous challenge, but I think if we take the right steps, we can achieve it. Another point that we can derive from these numbers is today we as a country, our dependence on imported LNG is about 50% of our requirement. So now if you extrapolate 600 MMSCMD and you want to continue the 50% import dependence, or basically 50% self-sufficiency, that will mean that we will have to increase the domestic production again by at least 4 to 5-fold. So from current 80 to 80 MMSCMD, we'll have to go to at least 250 to 60 MMSCMD. So this basically means the challenge for availability, making gas available, is very, very large. It is almost like 3x in next 10 years. So that's the challenge, and it means challenge not only for domestic production, also for import of LNG. So now if you think about domestic gas availability, I think 2020-21 is the golden period for domestic gas in India, as we saw after a long hiatus increase in domestic production. Domestic production increased by around 20% in last 1 year. So this is primarily backed on increase in production from KG Basin by Reliance and BP, and also production increase from Vedanta fields in Rajasthan. So basically, for sure, this was a very golden year. In fact, next 3-4 years also we are going to see increase in domestic availability of gas. And based on whatever projects that are under implementation or have been announced, the increase in domestic production could easily be around 40 to 50 MMSCMD. So if you look at between 20 to 25, the increase in domestic production is quite large. It's almost the increase of 70-80%. So which is a good sign, but it also means that the sustenance is also going to be critical. So what this increase in production is as a result of all the investment decisions that have been taken in last 3 to 4 years. Similar investment decisions will need to be made in next 3 to 4 years to sustain this kind of production, which will mean that a lot of efforts would need to be made to sustain this production. I will also touch upon a little bit on contribution of Reliance along with our partners BP in terms of domestic availability in the country. So as between Reliance and BP, we are investing about $5 billion. These are primarily for development of 3 projects, 2 of which have already been commissioned, and another project is likely to be commissioned next year. And the total production that increase that will happen from these 3 projects is going to be about 30 MMSCMD, of which 18 MMSCMD is already under production, and another 12 MMSCMD is going to come on stream next year. Also, we are the largest producer of CBM in the country. We are currently producing roughly about close to 1 MMSCMD of CBM from our fields in Shardol in Madhya Pradesh. So that's about the availability of from Reliance and BP. In terms of what is the framework required, I think government has taken a lot of reforms that have made this investment possible. There has been marketing and pricing freedom for CBM. There has been marketing and pricing freedom for difficult fields, deep water HPHT fields. There has been a policy for new hydrocarbon exploration licensing policy, which basically grants pricing and marketing freedom for all new developments that come on stream from here on. A lot of effort is also going on in promoting bio-CNG, which is for which we are going to start seeing results shortly. So a lot of efforts, policy reforms have taken place that has made this production side in the country looking brighter than ever before. Simultaneously, there has also been efforts increasing the gas consumption in the country, whether you look at the CGD rounds, which saw a few hundred GAs being awarded by PNGRB. We also been seeing a lot of investment happening in the downstream infrastructure. So basically, demand and supply efforts are being made to increase both demand as well as supply. My last point would be, yes, a lot has been done, but a few things need to be done for future. One of the industry demand has been bringing natural gas under the ambit of GST. This will basically remove all the tax complexities that are there today in trading in natural gas. Different states have different tax structures, and the application of these taxes is a little complicated, which means it's not very easy to trade in natural gas. So this is one request that we have been making. The other is implementation of unified pipeline tariff, which was recently announced by, which was recently notified by PNGRB. I think implementation of UPT is also going to be a landmark reform, which will basically mean one nation, one gas grid, and it will connect all the supply sources, all the demand sources, and it will become very easy for any buyer and any seller to operate in the market, and it will further help in increasing the availability of gas in the country. So with that, I would like to and hand over it to the next speaker. Thank you.
Yeah, Amit, thank you. And I think we don't have any other speaker besides we two. So I would take my session. I think everybody is able to hear me. I don't see anyone. Amit, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can see
Yes,
you.
Yes, we are able to hear you. Okay. So thanks for organizing this event and inviting us. Rajiv ji, thanks a lot for making
Pleasure is mine, sir. Thanks for coming.
Actually, 2 years back when we were there in Bombay in person, I think that time we were talking about gas exchange and gas hub, and I think it was 3 years back. And we have traveled a lot during that in these 3 years, and we have created a market, and that we would like to talk how the exchange or markets help increase the availability of gas. So this is broadly will be my theme of my presentation. I will just see I'm able to share it. So hope this is visible, my slides.
Yes, sir, they
yes.
are visible.
So one is that when we talk about availability, one is first I will say that the introduction which was made about me, unfortunately, it was with a different organization, but now uh, devoting more time on IGX. Of course, IGX is my parent company, from where we started working on this gas market, and now I'm spending more time on IGX. So we'll be talking about gas exchange, how that can actually help creating a market. So one is that when you talk about exchange, basically we are talking about a market where there is a standard contract. Everyone comes on the market and they participate in bidding, and that bidding is online. So automated systems are created through which people bid. And a very special feature of our exchange is that our exchange is not exchange for financial or paper market. It is pure delivery based market. So basically, everybody comes, puts its bids and offers, and we have a standard contract. What we mean by standard contract is that we provide a contract which has got very standard terms and conditions. So only negotiating element is price. All other terms and contracts are fixed, so that cannot be negotiated. Only negotiation possible is on the price, and that's where this automated system helps you to discover a price. So when you create this kind of market, it gives you better price discovery, because what price is gets discovered on the exchange comes out from having multiple buyers and sellers in the market. Every buyer has got a different value for the gas. Every seller has got a different cost. And then when everything comes in the market and then we discover a price, these prices are supposed to be most competitive. It may be higher as compared to other markets. It can be lower. All of that depends on what is the demand and supply during at that particular time. So this helps increase the confidence of buyers, that they know that there is a platform where they can go, and then the price what they'll get from the market is most competitive, whether it's low or high, and then they rely on the market, and then when they get confidence, then they actually uh, either if they are using something else, then they may switch to gas. If they are using gas, then probably they may be likely to use more of it, depend more of it on the gas. And this we have seen in the electricity market also, where we have seen when we started in 2008, there were few sellers or generators in the system. But when we started exchange, there was a price discovery, transparency. The options are available to seller that they can choose to sell through exchange. They can choose to sell through maybe through bilateral contracts. So when you have options, you know the prices are getting discovered transparently, neutrally, and unbiased manner. It doesn't depend on the size, it depends only on the price. So if it is a smaller seller or a big seller, they get the benefits of the market. Then important other benefit is that the seller gets the payment security from the exchange, and buyer gets a better price, because when seller is getting payment security, it gets payment next day, then buyer then they are ready to give a lower price, and then that benefit goes to the buyers. So these are few important elements of any exchange, particularly we like at IGX, where we run a delivery based market. So we also provide different options where very flexible option, where you can buy on a daily basis, you can buy on a weekly basis, fortnightly, monthly, and all of that provides flexibility to buyers. So then and then we aggregate everything. So maybe someone is buying for daily, someone is buying for weekly, but when everything gets aggregated, and then the seller gets a a very liquid market, then he knows that his gas will be sold in the exchange. And then there is a confidence, and then he uses this market more often than otherwise. And we also create robust risk management. So payment security is taken care. We provide option to everyone in the system today. Wherever the gas grid is there, the buyers and participants can join in the market to get gas through pipelines. Of course, currently we don't have a market for LNG where you can have delivery through trucks or otherwise. But wherever there is a gas grid connectivity, we can, with all those market participants, can participate on this market. We also now have domestic producers option to sell their gas on the exchange. So when probably they will be getting better price, then there will be more incentives for them to produce more, because they will be getting a price which is discovered by the market. So that will be another enablement which takes place through exchange. And then currently the trade, whatever trade we facilitate, they are actually in rupees, Indian rupees. So that is one benefit to the buyer, that they don't need to worry about exchange rate fluctuations. And we also take care of delivery. So then the small buyers get the benefit that they don't need to worry about the pipeline capacity and booking and other requirements. And as Amit said, that we are seeing that there is huge plans to grow the network. We are going to see almost doubling of network, pipeline network. So from 17,000 to almost doubling it to 34,000. LNG terminal capacity is also growing, and we expect to grow from 42 to 72 in next 3 years. Domestic production is going to increase from 30 to something like 50 BCM. And CGD expansion is going to take place. And today we are covering 70. Maybe by end of this 11th round of CGD licensing, we will be covering something like 80 to 85%. So with this kind of expansion happening in the system, more connectivity, more buyers joining the grid, more sellers are joining the grid, then it is important for everyone to have this IT-enabled platform where everything is happening through exchange. So that takes care of all the burdens and overheads which are otherwise associated with finding the best counterparty from both the sides, buyer and seller. So they know that when exchange is there, they get access to the best counterparty, and they don't need to worry about other party. And aggregation is big advantage through these platforms. So we started the exchange in last year, June 20, and we finally got approval for operating it as a gas exchange, authorized gas exchange from PNGRP in December, and we started it as a authorized gas exchange in December. And today the model for exchange is that we need to create physical hubs. Earlier, had there been an GST and uniform tariff, then probably we would have simply launched a virtual hub, which is as we see in Europe. But since we don't have uniform tariff and we don't have a common uniform tax, so we have to launch physical hubs. So basically, when you define a physical hub, the meaning is that everyone will know that, okay, when they are selling it at a particular hub, and buyer has to pick up from that hub. And all the costs associated for bringing that gas up to that point is borne by seller, and all the costs required to be picked up. So buyer, when it picks up from that location, then he has to pay all the cost, which is from that hub to his location. So with this model, we needed to, actually, we would like to create as less number of hubs as possible, because then it is better to get liquidity at one particular hub, and then everybody is, we get a better price discovery, we get more but diverse buyers and sellers. But today, since situation is, or the regulatory framework is like, we need to create the physical hub. So we have around 5 physical hubs today. And then the Dahej, Hazira, KG Basin, the Board and Jaigarh. We also have proposed for a few more hubs depending on the demand side, their demand side hubs. We currently have launched daily, weekly, weekday, fortnightly, monthly contracts. And monthly contracts are available for up to 3 to 6 months, 3 months now, and maybe we can go later up to 6 months. The price discovery mechanism for all of these contracts is, most of the contracts is open auction. Only for day ahead and daily, we have continuous matching. And the model for delivery is that when buyer takes care of delivery from the hub onwards, then we call it as accept transaction. And when it is provided by exchange, then it is called delivered transaction. And the contracts are designated or denominated in Indian rupees. And minimum lot size is 50 million MMBTU. So that is very small as compared to other markets where you have to contract. Actually, you can do any contract, but here the option was made for a smaller lot size, so that even a small buyer can purchase that. And in operation of this exchange for in last 9 months, almost 9 months, we have seen 20 members and 530 clients registered. And basically the model is, because we are delivery based exchange, so we provide option that the bidding happens after bidding during particular hours, we do matching, and after matching we discover a price, and then also we are required to see that how the gas would flow for the delivery period, say monthly or fortnightly, whatever contract has been chosen. And then that confirmation we have to receive from pipeline operator. And post confirmation, we confirm the trade, and then it goes for scheduling. So this is broadly the whole trade flow for the contracts which are facilitated through exchange. And in last 6 months, we have seen this volumes are growing, and of course we have seen the prices have also increased, and it is very much aligned with the international prices, international market prices. They are lower than the international market prices, but there is somewhere correlation, the high correlation with the LNG spot markets, because the sellers who have options to sell otherwise, they only are ready to sell at a higher price, because then prices increase. Maybe their cost of procurement of gas is also more, and less gas is available in the system. So when demand is more and supply is less, prices are going to increase. So this is the position as on date, and we have seen it is growing. Though we are currently trading about 3 to 4 lakh of MMBTU per month, and we expect to increase this number to at least 50% increase. We expect to happen every month onwards, from now onwards. And if you see that the trade which has happened so far, mostly on different parameters, they are divided. Like if you see hubs, so mostly we trade on the Dahej hub. We know that most of the gas comes through the Dahej. Then we see the accept transactions are more. Then we have seen that sellers are also diversified, buyers are diversified, and all segments of industry are buying through exchange. And of course, on terms of pipeline network, we see that most of the transactions on HVJ, but other pipelines are also being used for the trade. And in terms of contracts, so monthly is maximum, fortnightly, daily, weekly, weekday, and day ahead. So all of these contracts are being traded. Only thing is, must maybe higher on daily and also on weekly. But in terms of quantity, the most trades are happening on the monthly. And these are the prices which are getting discovered. So if you see this red curve, this is the price. And if you compare it with other markets, then we see that this is the bottommost line is showing the APM gas. The green one is showing the market freedom gas with the ceiling. And then the blue one is the spot LNG. And then this brownish one is the long-term LNG, which is linked to Brent oil, Brent crude. So we see that generally our prices have been lower on in early this year, but after July it is higher than the long-term LNG because this spot LNG has been increasing in the whole market. So because the prices have gone up to say $35, so we see our prices have also gone up, and it's slowly going inching up towards 30. But this progression is happening, but there is still it is prices are lower than the spot LNG market. And these are the few participants which are participating on the exchange. They are power plants, they are big marketers. So BPCL, GAIL, they are also our members. Adani, Torrent, H Energy, AMNS, all of these are members. And then there are many industries which have not become members, but they are clients on the exchange. Now, as Amit also said, that we need to have few enablers so that we increase the availability of gas. Simply creating infrastructure is one part, but we also need to see that how we can make this market more vibrant. For that, we need to see that unified tariff is anyway one requirement. GST is another requirement. Exclusivity, CGT exclusivity is another one, which has been very much in the radar of PNGRB, that they have issued the public notice for inviting comments on declaration of 54 geographical areas as a common carrier. But besides that, we also feel that there should be independent system operator. That's for that also there have been draft regulation, draft rules have been issued by Ministry of Petroleum, and comments have been received, and they may be actually finalizing what can be the structure of TSO and what should be their roles and responsibilities. And then we also feel that access code, which was actually first developed a long time back, about 10 years back, that needs a thorough revamp. And for that also, there was a draft regulation issued by PNGRB in June this year. Besides that, we feel that these two are very important part of the market. Domestic gas, as you know, they are being sold at a very low price. So when the whole market prices are going to $30, but APM gas is still being sold at something like 2. Now from October, it is increased to 3.6. And similarly, domestic gas with the ceiling price, market freedom, but they have a ceiling price like Reliance, BP, and ONGC. They have also a ceiling price, which is something around $6. So $6 versus $30 is too big a gap. Even $4 to $30 is too big a gap. So it is felt that if domestic gas producers get a price which is linked to market, then they definitely there will be incentive for them to produce more. There will be incentive for better exploration. And once this more gas will come into the market, probably that will reduce the overall cost for of gas to the buyers, because today buyers have to purchase LNG. 50% of total consumption is from LNG. So if you increase the participation of domestic, if the overall constitution in the overall mix of overall gas consumption, if the percentage of domestic gas is higher, then it is better for the market, because then more buyers will join. It will increase the overall demand of the whole gas market, gas sector, and then really we can achieve what government has got vision, that 6% to 15%. But if we have price ceiling for domestic gas on both the sides, APM and non-APM, and market freedom, then there will be challenges in expanding our gas domestic production. So for that also, we feel that there should be some way to increase this. There should be some way, maybe a part of domestic gas should be sold on the exchange, or complete gas also can be sold on the exchange, so that there is a better price discovery. So as I was saying that recently in August, government allowed the producers with domestic, with market freedom gas, that they can sell part of their total quantity being produced. So it can be up to 500 million cubic meter or 10% of annual production, whichever is higher, that can be sold through exchanges or exchange. And again, in that there can be two categories. So the one can be the gas without ceiling price. For that, we only need to see that which locations they are available, and then we will be launching new trading hubs. But wherever there is a ceiling price, like in ONGC and Reliance BP, KGD 98 oil fields, gas fields, we have a ceiling price. So there we need to launch, of course, new hubs. Anyway, will be there. But we also may need to make some changes in our market rules, for which we will be shortly taking approval from PNGRB for making some changes in the rules, where if there are many buyers and there are few sellers or one seller, and then we get demand quantity much more than supply or offer quantity, then we should be able to, and all of them are at the same price, which is at the ceiling price, then we should be able to make pro rata allocation to all of them. So that is we will be doing once this ceiling price will be coming on the exchange. And of course, the CBM, which doesn't have any ceiling price, for them we need to only launch the new hubs. So this is one area. Of course, today only 10% of gas is allowed from each field, or if the field has got production less than 500 million cubic meter, then of course he can sell complete quantity on the exchange. So with this domestic gas sales possible on the exchange, we feel that there will be better price for domestic gas. It will lead to more production of domestic gas. So then there will be cheaper gas, more cheaper gas will be available to the market and the buyers. And then there will be more buyers interested in buying gas as compared to other fuels. So this is the virtuous cycle we can create by allowing these domestic producers to sell on the exchange. Another advantage of we can do it this whole thing better when we remove the ceiling price limitation for the domestic gas, because then we will really be able to discover real price for those that quantity. Now again, even if you consider APM gas, we feel that APM gas also can be sold on the exchange. And then again, the benefit will be same, that if more APM gas will be available, more production will, domestic producer will be incentivized to produce more, and then there will be cheaper option to market, and then more gas demand. So fertilizer will also get benefited. Though it looks like if you remove the price, if you allow that to be sold on the at the market discovered price, then probably in the short run it looks like it will not be good for the fertilizer and the CGD. But we feel that in the long run, when such gas will be sold on the exchange. So this will encourage more domestic production, and then that benefit will go to all these fertilizer and CGT sector. And of course, in the power sector, when prices will go below certain threshold, then definitely power sector will also be incentivized, and then they will be able to consume more. But currently, for power sector, this any other gas which is non-APM is not viable, because options in the power sector available is much cheaper from solar and wind. So this was all I thought of sharing. So these are few enablements we need, and otherwise we should be able to provide this exchange can really help in expanding the overall gas market and gas sector. So with this I would like to close, and if any questions are there, I think now we can take, or because if there's no other speaker, or we can wait for other speakers to join and then we'll take it. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I'll request the organizers to, request the next speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rajesh Vidyaratha and Mr. Amit Mehta, for those insightful discussion. We still have some time, and if the panelists wants to discuss on certain aspect, they can go ahead and have a discussion. Also, we had another participant for this discussion on availability of CNG LNG, Mr. Kevin Elward. So, if Sir is present, he can also share this insights and his opinion on the same. Welcome, sir. You can go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'm available. If we have a video in our presentation, if that's possible to run, it's right in the front of the presentation. If you're able to turn that on now, we'd appreciate that very much to start the presentation.
Surely, sir. You can see the option of share screen at the bottom of the tab. You press on it and you can share your screen and your presentation.
Okay, when it comes up. Okay. So thank you very much. You can start the slides. It's for the first slide. Thank you. And thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Kevin Aylward with Lng Newfoundland and Labrador, based in St. John's, Newfoundland, Labrador, Canada. We are a new LNG development company that has announced a recent LNG development program here in Newfoundland. We are a company made up of Newfoundland and Labrador companies, a consortium of companies here, and we have a program that would see a monetization of offshore gas in Newfoundland and Labrador by 2030. The government of Newfoundland and Labrador's policy is to see monetized gas by 2030, and we are following that policy program with the provincial government here in Newfoundland and Labrador. We are also, the government of Canada also has a very supportive policy for export of LNG to export markets around the globe. We appreciate the invite today to this conference here in India, and we appreciate the opportunity to tell our story and our case. Our new website is lngnl-nl.com, and we also have we'll have a video. The video is available on our website, so you can actually go to the website and see the video. It's a 3-minute video, and it gives an outline of the significant opportunity that we are proposing to the global markets. I am a former provincial Canadian cabinet minister. I served as Minister of Environment for 4 years here with Newfoundland and Labrador in the province. And we also oversaw the development of oil and gas in Newfoundland and Labrador 25 years ago. So for the audience to understand, this is Newfoundland, Labrador in Eastern Canada, Eastern Seaboard of North America. We are the most mature development market for oil and gas that is operating. And we have a hydrocarbon friendly atmosphere in Newfoundland and Labrador. We have a supportive work environment. We have an excellent workforce here that has been involved with the development of infrastructure for oil and gas. We have 4 producing offshore wells in the John Dark Basin, 250 miles offshore. And so this opportunity for monetizing gas is the first significant opportunity for this Newfoundland and Labrador offshore, Canada offshore. And we have put together a development team that is very strong. Leo Power is our CEO. Leo is a former senior advisor to the Government of Canada for a number of years. We have Majid Abdi, who's also on our website. His background, also giant background, 20-year background in the offshore Newfoundland and Labrador, including international on gas developments. We have started discussions with the offshore operators here, which include ExxonMobil and others, Chevron and a number of major players here. And just recently on Friday, as an example of the confidence that is in the offshore of Newfoundland, Labrador, Canada, Qatar Energy announced they also are becoming involved here in another exploration play here in the province and in Canada, which was a major announcement here on Friday past. So again, another confidence booster for the long-term outlook for Newfoundland offshore oil and gas. When we have a Canadian government also, Trudeau, the Prime Minister Trudeau has just been recently elected. The Department of Natural Resources Canada has been very supportive of our development program, and we are working with the federal government in multiple agencies at this point. We have a site which you'll see in the presentation. If that presentation is available, I'd appreciate it if it could just run, and I could move the slides forward. If the Grassy Point site that we have in Newfoundland and Labrador is a site that has been permitted previously, over 10 years ago, for LNG development, and it was also permitted federally and provincially. So we are using this site for its historical development purposes, but this new program will include an offshore pipeline, 600-kilometer pipeline from offshore Newfoundland and Labrador into the island of Newfoundland. We then we'll have an offshore gas hub that will be built in the middle of 4 producing fields, as outlined in our presentation and in our video. This onshore site we will see then the processing of liquefied natural gas, which we would then export to markets on a global basis. Therefore, we have a keen interest in the market in India. We have been looking at that market. We also thank the Trade Commissioner's Office in Canada and in India in particular, Sabel, for his assistance and the team's assistance in facilitating this presentation today. We see the market in India as a major opportunity for Canada to export LNG. We have a long-term supply and decade supply of LNG here in the offshore East Coast Canada, Newfoundland and Labrador. And the market for India, as you know, of course, is going to be long-term. And we are a G7 country that was stable, very stable government that we believe could be a long-term team player in the market in India. So we appreciate today the opportunity to be able to expose our project to yourselves, to you as developers, but also to you as potential buyers of long-term for offtake markets for gas. We are also, in the development program, open to potential development partners, and again, we'd like to outline that to you today. The overall regulatory regime here in Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada, is very conducive to offshore gas development. Also, there have been two other programs, offshore pipeline programs put forward and approved and operated in Atlantic Canada. So we would be, in the sense of the pipeline program, offshore pipeline, we would be the third offshore pipeline in Canada to be built here in Atlantic Canada. So as a stable environmental and regulatory regime for gas development, Canada is really friendly towards that, and understanding the strict environmental guidelines that are in place. And I was a former provincial minister with oversight, responsible. It is important for us as a company to ensure, of course, that will all be part of our agenda as we go forward. But the governmental regimes are positive towards the developments, to this development. And of course, we all know what the market for LNG and where it's going in the future. So we are very positive about this project. We're early stage on the project, but in essence, there have been years of development activity around it, in the sense of the environmental studies that have been carried out. And we are now proceeding to new environmental registration, and also working with the regulatory agencies on a weekly basis as we go forward. We are looking forward to seeing to bringing in new partners for the project. And we also believe that this project, we also are looking at the carbon capture side of the project. It will be, we believe, one of the leading projects on the globe when it comes to net zero, as to the efficiencies of how we will operate. Newfoundland and Labrador is one of the biggest hydro producers in North America. We have thousands of megawatts of hydropower based in Labrador, and we will be using a combination of hydro and other clean energy sources to power our LNG plant. So as we move this forward, we think there are a lot of positive reasons for companies in India to give thought to this project, to give thought to potential partnerships, and or also potential long-term offtake for your markets. We have a long history of doing business together between both countries. We have also the support of our federal cabinet minister here in Newfoundland and Labrador, Seamus O'Regan's office, and they will be announcing a new cabinet actually here in Canada tomorrow, the Liberal administration, and we have very positive relationships again with the governments here, which I think very beneficial in the sense of stability for long-term investment. We look at de-risking the project for the long term, and so as it sits now, we are now an announced project in the international markets, and we will be doing these types of presentations now to provide more details on the project as it comes forward. And we very much appreciate the organizers of your conference today, allowing us to have a few minutes to bring forward our project. And our presentation is on the website, our website too. So just so for anybody's reference, they can go to the website, again, lng-nl.com. And our executive team of Leo Power, Majid Abdi, and myself are available at any point going forward, post the conference, for any follow-up calls through our trade commissioner's office in Canada, in India, which has been so helpful to us. We very much appreciate that. So I think here at this point, I will kind of put out a hold, see if there are any questions that may be there. And very much appreciate this opportunity by the organizers for the event. We have been tracking your markets in India very much so, and there has been some interest from some companies in India in the Eastern Canada market in the past. And we hope to attract that back in as part of this presentation, the start of this presentation. And again, a good day to you. And we again appreciate this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So yes, we still have few minutes on that. So if the panelists want to discuss some other aspect amongst themselves, you can please go ahead.
Sure. We also have one other part of this program is we have an Indigenous partner in Canada that has signed up with us, that has become a partner with us. In Canada, it is very important to have Indigenous partners, Aboriginal partners to do projects for resource development. We have a significant partner in Mia Paukek here in Newfoundland, and so the project itself now is de-risked to the point that we have Indigenous partners, a significant Indigenous partner, along with our own industrial partners that we do have, and so the project is set really to move forward in a very aggressive pace coming up, and we think the long term, in the sense of these offtake markets, we think India is a top market for us to consider. And then I will leave it there, see if there are any further questions. The other thing I'll add is that there are is a 25-year history of oil and gas production here in Newfoundland in the offshore. Again, we are the longest oil and gas producing, hydrocarbon producing basin on the eastern seaboard of North America. Again, for longevity, for consistency, for export markets. So when international partners, investors for LNG are looking at this opportunity, we believe it is one that will be considered to be in the top echelon of LNG development programs around the globe. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you once again, Mr. Kevin Elward. So with this, we are almost at the end of our discussion on availability of LNG. But if Mr. Rajesh Datta or Mr. Amit Datta have to get on any other more points, the stage is open for them.
Yeah. Pardon? Sorry, Dipesh. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Nothing from my side, sir. I just said that we still have a few minutes on that. So
okay.
If the panelists want to discuss some other aspect also.
Sure, please. Yes. Any questions? Yeah, we will welcome. We will welcome any questions. Yeah, and again, our video and presentation is online also, so that anybody can go look at the presentation also.
We have a comment from one of our attendees, Mr. Subhash Kai, Sehbal Ghosh, sorry. Sir says that Indian refineries have used the NFL offshore crudes extensively. So this is some statement that you want to share with us on the platform.
Pardon? Was that on the stability of the regulatory side? Sorry. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So the statement was Indian refineries have used the NFL offshore crude extensively.
Okay. So our LNG group is we are looking at the development is 250 miles offshore, and we are the whole development program. We are seeking partners for the development program, including upstream, and so we are in that process right now of. We have Invest Canada, which is also assisting us internationally through Crown Corporation, with exploring opportunities for partnerships also. So, but technically, the program is being led by our Vice President, And we are working with the offshore producers now to work out the early engineering and design of the platform, the gas hub, and the pipeline. We are in discussions with pipeline companies also as to, again, the engineering and design and route structure for the offshore program. This would be the first offshore pipeline for Newfoundland and Labrador. There are, literally, decades of supply in the offshore here. We have existing production that we are looking at tapping into here, but there is also giant reserves, as outlined in the presentation, that are available for the future developments of LNG gas opportunities here for export markets.
Mr. Kevin, sir, so you have mentioned once that on the website we can see the presentation and you would like the participants also to have a glance over it. So do you want me to share my screen and show the participants the website that you are referring to?
Pardon? Sorry, the last part, sorry.
Yeah, so I was just mentioning that in the earlier part of the session, you mentioned that on the website of lng.nfl, there is the complete presentation and all the details of the same. So do you want me from our side to present the screen and show the website that you're referring to attendees?
Yes, sure. If you could do that. Yep, if you could, I would appreciate it.
Just give me a second. Let's share my screen.
Okay. I would really appreciate it. That's it. Not yet, but okay, there it is. Yeah.
So I'll just mute myself. You can go ahead.
Okay. Yep. So the next slide, if you could. Yep. Yeah, this is our site here, a picture of our development site that we have at on the island of Newfoundland. We are looking at floating LNG, FLNG also, as part of the technology platform program for the development activity. And we are in discussions again there on that option for the program. The CapEx overall of approximately 10 billion. Next slide. Again, you can go to the next one. Here we go. So you can hit the video here if you could, Dipesh, if that would work. Yeah, let's see if that would work. There we go. And this will give a good description.
Is the audio of the video audible?
Yes, it's available. Yes, should be there. You should be able to click it on.
Okay,
yeah, from your you should be able to click it on there.
The Jeanne d'Arc Basin is home to 4 major offshore oil developments: Hibernia, Terra Nova, White Rose, and Hebron. Developments are also underway in the Flemish Pass area, and there are still massive oil and gas reserves to be explored in surrounding fields. Lng Newfoundland and Labrador proposes a natural gas development project that starts with a central gas export hub in the center of existing production fields. The gas supply is currently being produced as a byproduct of current oil production. Additionally, the Newfoundland and Labrador government aims to commercialize this stranded gas as part of Advanced 2030, a plan for growth in the Newfoundland and Labrador oil and gas industry. The offshore gas hub will initially be tied back to existing offshore oil developments. Natural gas produced through existing or new gas production wells will flow to the gas hub where condensate will be separated out. The gas will then flow through a 600-kilometer subsea pipeline to the shores of Newfoundland at Grassy Point. The route will be selected in consideration of environmentally sensitive areas and the highest safety standards, and considerable work has already been completed to establish the route. Placentia Bay is an ice-free area and main marine route for transportation of crude oil to world markets. It is one of the world's largest and deepest navigable bays with significant infrastructure to support marine operations. It is also a compulsory piloting port under the direction of the Atlantic Pilotage Authority. Shipping of oil and gas products in Placentia Bay has been safely completed since 1973. The Grassy Point site is in an industrial region and adjacent to the Come By Chance oil refinery and the NL transshipment facility at Whiffen Head. It is less than 150 kilometers from St. John's and easily accessed via the Trans-Canada Highway. Marine traffic in Placentia Bay is monitored by Marine Communications and Traffic Services, a division of the Canadian Coast Guard. The Grassy Point site was previously considered for an LNG transshipment facility and received environmental approval and a federal government permit. Today, LNG Newfoundland and Labrador proposes an expanded project to liquefy natural gas from offshore for export as LNG to world markets. The offshore pipeline will deliver the gas for liquefaction to the permanently moored floating liquefied natural gas vessel, where it will be compressed by a factor of 600 times and superchilled to minus 162 degrees centigrade, where it becomes a liquid called LNG. Once the gas is liquefied and ready for export to markets, LNG carriers will approach the floating liquefied natural gas vessel, receive the LNG cargo, and safely depart. Newfoundland and Labrador is the closest North American point to Europe, where a significant and growing market exists for a stable supply of clean LNG, produced with renewable hydroelectricity from Newfoundland and Labrador. LNG Newfoundland and Labrador will produce one of the most environmentally friendly and stable supplies of LNG in the world, and we look forward to playing a key role in global transition to net zero. To learn more about the project, visit lng-nl.com.
Thank you, Dipesh. Yep, the next slide, if you could. Thank you very much. Again, here we look at this slide talks about the advantages of the program, stability for long-term gas supply in our John Dark Basin of 8 TCF that's already discovered. We plan to use up to 5 in this first project. An experienced project team, again, 25-year history here of oil and gas developments, including infrastructure development. We also are looking at conventional offshore pipeline construction. And again, the federal and provincial jurisdiction, one jurisdiction, both coming together to make one regulatory process, and an Indigenous engagement very strong. Next slide, please. And our team, as outlined earlier, this is a strong team here within Atlantic Canada, within Canada. And we have partners, including McDermott out of the US. McDermott, one of the top players when it comes to LNG, technical and engineering EPC design. Next slide, please. So our timeline here, you can see here, Gate 1 review, late 2022, pre-feed program, and again, late 2024 for selection in our processes for moving forward. As to the specific development program, we also expect their approvals, environmental assessment approvals somewhere 2024 also at the same time. Next slide. And we expect LNG by 2029, 2030 for export markets. Next slide, please. Okay, so that's a summary of a short summary that anyone can go to, any of the organizers. We also have any of the participants in the conference. Dipesh, anyone who would like to have follow-up, of course, our contacts will be available through our Canadian International Trade Office, Commissioner's Office, and we would welcome that opportunity to do so. This is a new program just announced recently in the last few weeks, and this is really our first presentation internationally, to the international stage for the project. So we think that given the excellent history between India and Canada, development history, all of our history together, we think that there's a significant opportunity here to touch base with major players in India as to the opportunity in the program itself. And we would welcome that opportunity for discussion. And our premier, very supportive here. Our provincial premier is Andrew Fury and his government. And their policy is one of the key reasons that we are moving forward with the program, is because of supportive government policy here. So again, thank you for the opportunity. And again, any questions that anybody may have, even through email and so on, we would welcome. And we think here that, this will be the first project of a number to be developed on the Eastern Seaboard. The confidence that has been placed here by the recent announcements of Qatar Energy and others, Exxon and so on, this is going to be a significant contributor to the LNG markets for the future. This basin and other basins that are here under development right now. And so we appreciate getting the exposure today. We do. Thank you. And I'm an ex-politician, so you're going to have to stop me because I will keep going. Okay, Dipesh? No, all good. All good. Thank you.
So I think with this, our session comes to an end. So it was quite an insightful and an informing session. And I'm thankful to Mr. Rajesh Midiratta, Mr. Amit Mehta, and Mr. Kevin Adward for their time. So yes, with this, once again, we end our session. And if there is any parting words that our attendees want to, participants want to say, they can go ahead. Also, we don't have any questions as of now from the attendees. So I think we can wrap up the current discussion and we can move ahead for our next discussion at 3:30 p.m. Next 10 minutes. So attendees, please stay with us. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Dipesh. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Rajivji.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you very much. Thanks for the kind invite. We appreciate it from Canada very much. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dipesh.
Thank you. Pleasure is ours. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So while we onboard the speakers for our next session, we will take a short break of 10 minutes. Take care, sir. And we look forward to meet you all in next 10 minutes for the next live session. Take care. Thank you.
Prerna Saha, Senior Manager Process EIL, and Dr. Shobha Agarwal, GM Process EIL, to share on the topic of intervention in refining process to manage emissions of CO2 reduction.
We will start our next session on demand and new application of LNG in few minutes. So until we onboard the speakers, I request everyone to stay with us. We will be back in next 10 minutes, next 5 minutes. Thank you.
Yes, yes, we can see.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Prerna